$885 a month. That's the average side hustle income in America according to Bankrate's 2025 survey. The median, the number exactly in the middle, where half of all respondents earn more and half earn less, is $200. Same survey, same question, same pool of people. The average is $885. The median is $200. And the gap between those two numbers is the entire story of what most side hustle content doesn't show you. A small number of high earners pull the average upward. The majority stay near that $200 mark. 58.6% of people who run a side hustle earn less than $250 a month, according to Self Financial's 2025 survey. That's the realistic starting point for most people, not 885. And none of those numbers account for what the ears takes out. By the end of this video, you'll know the real take-home, what actually lands in your account after taxes and costs are pulled. For most middle-class earners running a side hustle on top of a regular job, that number is roughly half of what they grossed. Half. Why the tax math hits harder than most people expect when you work a regular job. Your employer splits your Social Security and Medicare taxes with you. You pay 7.65%. They pay 7.65%. You never see their half, it just gets paid on your behalf. When you run a side hustle, there is no employer. You pay both halves, all 15.3%. This is the self-employment tax. And for most people starting a side hustle, it doesn't appear until April when a tax bill shows up that nobody warned them about. Here's what that means with real numbers. Assume you earn $65,000 at your 9 to 5 22% federal marginal bracket. You start a side hustle that grosses $1,500 a month, $18,000 a year. You have $200 a month in legitimate business expenses, platform fees, gas, supplies. Net income, $15,600. Step 1, self-employment tax on 92.35% of $15,600 equals $2,203. You can deduct half of that from your taxable income. $112 comes back. Step 2, federal income tax on the remaining $14,498 at your 22% marginal rate equals $30,190. Step 3, state income tax at a moderate 5% equals $725. Total taxes $6,118. Real take-home $9,482 a year, $790 a month. You grossed $1,500. You kept $790. That is a 47% effective tax rate on side income stacked on top of a W-2 salary. Not because you did anything wrong, because that is how the tax code treats self-employment income. 47% gone. More than half. The time math, what your real hourly rate actually is, the second number most side hustle content skips is the real hourly rate, not the advertised rate per active hour, but the actual take-home per every hour invested, including the hours that don't show up on the dashboard. Food delivery is the clearest example. DoorDash shows active earnings of $15 to $25 per hour. Here's what that doesn't include. Mileage, where the ears pegs vehicle operating cost at 70 cents per mile in 2025. Most delivery drivers cover 20 to 35 miles per active hour. That's $14 to $24.50 in real vehicle cost per hour wear that accumulates silently in tires, brakes, and engine life before it shows up as a repair bill. Self-employment tax on whatever's left after mileage. After mileage and taxes, most delivery drivers in average markets take home $7 to $13 per actual hour. Experienced drivers working peak hours in high-demand markets can reach $16 to $20, but that requires knowing the market and working strategically, not just opening the app. Quick check before we keep going. If you have a side hustle right now, drop your real monthly take-home in the comments, not your gross. The number that actually lands in your account after everything. I want to see what the real range looks like. There's one factor I haven't covered yet. It's the thing that determines whether any side hustle is worth the hours or just a source of expensive burnout. I'll get to it in about 3 minutes. Keep watching. I need to stop here and complicate this picture, because if I only showed you the numbers above, you'd walk away thinking every side hustle is a bad deal. That's not what the data says. The QuickBooks 2026 Entrepreneurship Study 3,000 U.S. adults surveyed in December 2025 found that average side hustlers earned $2,038 a month while putting in only 19 hours and 32 minutes. That's $104 an hour. $104 an hour from QuickBooks. $200 a month median from Bankrate. Both surveys measured real people. How are these numbers so far apart? They measured different populations. QuickBooks reached active platform users who are further along, earning more, and using business tools. Bankrate reached a broader random sample that includes everyone who calls themselves a side hustler, including people who tried it for 6 weeks and made $80. Both numbers are real. What both studies agree on, 68% of side hustlers earn under $500 a month. That direction is consistent across multiple independent sources. So, the tax math cuts about half of every dollar you earn. The advertised hourly rate is not the real hourly rate, and the income data is more scattered than any single headline suggests. Now, the factor I mentioned 3 minutes ago, the one that determines whether the hours are worth it. The factor, existing skill versus no existing skill, every side hustle falls into one of two categories. Category 1, no required skill. Delivery, selling items, basic gig work. Fast to start, real income within days, and a real hourly rate ceiling that tops out in the single digits to low teens after taxes and costs. Category 2, a skill you already have from your day job. Writing, bookkeeping, data, design, project management, social media, tutoring takes longer to build into clients. Once it does, the real hourly rate is a completely different conversation. A freelance bookkeeper charging $40 an hour after taxes and costs keeps $25 to $28 an hour in real take-home. Not $7. The skill is the gap. This is why what's the best side hustle is the wrong question. The right question is, what skill do I already have that someone will pay for, and what does that skill actually earn per hour after the real math? If you have no marketable skill, yet start with delivery or selling to generate cash now. Build a skill in parallel. The day job skill that took you years to develop is the highest value asset you already own. Most people never sell it. One thing I want to be direct about. I can't tell you what your specific real hourly rate will be. It depends on your tax bracket, your hustle's cost structure, and how honestly you count every hour, including the hours before you land your first client or delivery. The studies I've cited don't agree with each other on the average, and I'm not going to act like one dataset settles it when multiple credible sources produce different numbers. What doesn't vary, the self-employment tax is real. It hits everyone with side income, and most people don't know it exists until April. That part is not in dispute. Here's the number that closes the loop on the factor I mentioned. 67% of side hustlers say their additional work leads to burnout according to sidehustles.com data. 67%. 2 out of 3 people who run a side hustle say it burns them out. And 52% say burnout is only worth it if they earn over $500 a week. $500 a week is $26,000 a year gross. After a 47% effective tax rate on side income stacked on a middle-class salary, real take-home from that is roughly $1,060 a month. That's the threshold where most people say it's worth it. And only 10 to 12% of side hustlers hit $1,000 a month gross. Not don't start. Go in knowing the real target, the real take-home, and whether the hustle you're considering can realistically get you past that threshold with the hours you actually have. The side hustle math that nobody showed you before you started this is it. The gross number looked real because nobody subtracted the self-employment tax, the mileage, or the hours that don't count as active earnings. You didn't misunderstand the opportunity. You were handed the wrong number and told it was the right one. Run the real math before you commit months of evenings to something. Gross minus expenses minus self-employment tax minus income tax at your marginal rate, divided by every hour including the unpaid ones. That's your real hourly rate. If it still makes sense, start. What does your side hustle actually pay after taxes and costs? Not the gross, the real number that hits your account. Drop it in the comments. I want to see the actual range across people watching this. If this is your kind of channel, subscribe. See you in the next video.